It's a Tuesday, and you're in the middle of important things when your phone rings from a number that looks oddly similar to yours. You decide to answer it. The bad news is your car's warranty has expired. And the good news is the caller can help you extend it. You remain calm and tell them you're not interested at this particular time. Moments later, your phone rings again. It's the Langdons of Langdon Tactical. They ask, how do you feel about HK pistols? We quite like them, as a matter of fact. They proceed to inform you that they are now working on HK P30s and P2000s. This, much like your new vehicle warranty, is good news. Very good news. Okay, boys and girls, welcome back to the show. Thrilling episode today. So if I can be completely candid with you, this is not ideal timing of this video because it's on the HK P30 series. And as mentioned in the intro, the good news is that Langdon Tactical is now working on the P30 series. I only say this is not great timing because you're already getting a lot of HK content on the channel right now, and you're probably like, holy shit, man, how much HK stuff can they do? But it's a new thing, it's new to the market, and we're gonna bring it to you. Ironically, I think a USP video comes out this Friday, which this and the USP are kind of related. So we'll get into this, break down both the actual P30 series and the actual Langdon sort of mods that they are doing. 9mm that we shot through this today.
From our boys at US Brass House. 2 codes for you, 1911, enter that, then Syndicate, enter that. That will save you 40 bucks on a case of ammo. We shoot a lot of US Brass House ammo. Brass House ammo, sorry.
Did I?
I said brass ass, I was thinking.
Brass ass. But, it's just slurred it all together.
But, I've never had any issues with that.
No, yeah. it's all good, clean stuff.
Good stuff, so, yep. Use that code, go get you some ammo.
Beyond that, we've got a new t-shirt that should be on the site now. You guys can go check that out. If you're wondering what 1911 this is the Alchemy Quantico, okay, which we did a video on quite a while ago, but like it is my probably most aesthetically pleasing 1911 I own. So, so we got this and other shirts and shit like that. So you can go do that. If you need real estate help, just go to the 1911 Syndicate website. You can hit us up for real estate help.
Arizona.
Yeah, just no land, please. Please, like I'm begging of you, please, no more land requests.
Please.
Patreon, all that kind of shit. So
And then last thing, so relationship with Langdon. So we've done a video on their Beretta.
Yeah.
And so this is the second video that we've done on Langdon. I will be perfectly honest, I'm a little bit unbiased on this simply because I like them. I like the people of Langdon.
No, you're a little biased.
Biased, yes. Yes,
Not
I'm a little
unbiased.
biased. Yes,
Yeah.
correct.
Because I was about to call you out. I was going to be like, motherfucker, that's not true. We are a little biased inherently.
Yes.
Not only do they make great products or great modifications to existing products, they have gone above and beyond for us.
I just like them.
Anything we've needed for this video, they have tried to accommodate and make happen.
Yeah.
To the point of almost meeting me at the airport when I flew up here.
Yeah.
They offered to do that.
Yeah.
So they've gone above and beyond. I'm a fan of their products, and I'm excited for this video.
Yeah, good folks. We will keep the review honest. Don't worry, you guys will always get an honest shake from us, but just so that you know, it's like, hey, we know them, they know us, and we like them. We're fans, so there you go. Let's start by doing this. If you're like, look, I understand everything about the P30 series, tell me about the red dot cut and the trigger work that they're doing, cool, you're gonna wanna skip ahead probably like, I don't know, 10 minutes into the video or something. We're gonna talk a little bit about the actual P30 series, what it is, what it isn't, and then we'll get to the Langdon specific stuff. So let's hit it a little bit. So the P30 series, here's how, we have a good friend. His name is James Williamson, and he's a handsome bastard, majestic voice, great hair.
Great beard.
And that's what pissed me off. The last time we were with him, and it was like, he's clean shaven, and it's just like, man, that guy with a beard, and we're all screwed.
Correct.
And then like the week after we left him, he starts growing it out, and it's salt and pepper, and it's majestic, and it pissed me off.
It looks like it's like literally perfectly groomed every time, no matter what. Like,
obnoxious.
to be that attractive is just unfair.
And we will never know what it's like, but we can live vicariously through him. But you know, we talked to him, and he had a really good line about the P30 series. He said, make sure I get it right here. He said, the USP was the revolution, and the P30 series was the evolution. Oh,
Great tag.
Good line there, Williamson.
Also
so,
a great shirt. You have one of each.
Yeah.
The Revolution,
yeah, and it evolves into like a P30.
Yeah,
or
whoever
some shit.
makes that shirt, just send me $20 and a free shirt.
Yeah, and a free shirt, please. Yep. And that's a really good line, right? So the USP was like a big revolution in the industry in terms of what it was doing and everything. And most of the pistols that HK has put out since then have been evolutions of that concept and sort of let's make it better as we go.
That's fair.
So it was designed. There was a contract that was, or a request that was put out for the German TSA, like their version of like Homeland Security.
Oh, really?
Wanted a new pistol, and so there was a contract request, and so HK worked up the P30. Didn't get picked up for that. It's been picked up for other things, but
TSA and DHS are two separate things, right?
I'm talking the German.
It's their version of that.
Yes.
I got you. I understand. Okay.
And I might be a tad off on that, but I know I'm pretty damn close there.
Hey, close only counts in, horseshoes, hand grenades, and this.
Yep. So on the P30 series, there's 3 different sizes, okay? There's the SK, which is really like, think Glock 26 size. It's not a micro compact. It's like a subcompact, I guess.
Subcompact is the proper terminology.
Yeah, it's been almost a while since subcompacts have really been a thing.
I want that SK though.
Yeah, Chris is like super into the SK and really wants one. Then there's the standard size,
which is your 19 size, a Glock 19 size.
And
right?
And then there's
this would be considered compact. And then we have the P30L.
P30L.
Or full size.
Yes, and we'll get into some of the breakdowns of each of those. But so you've got 3 different sizes there. The following is very important that you know. There are DASA variants, and what that means for anyone who might be newer to guns is that means double action to single action. What that means is that the first trigger pull, okay, so the first trigger pull will be very long and heavier because you have to take that hammer all the way back. And
double action, meaning it goes back and then forward.
Right.
It moves 2
Gun
ways.
cycles, and then on the subsequent rounds, you'll notice that hammer is back. So on the subsequent rounds, you have a very light,
and then
crisp
it cycles
trigger.
again.
And it cycles, and so that first one is double, and then to decock it, you just push this little button that is at the back of the, technically it's on the frame. So that's how a DASA works. Then they have the LEM variants. We will break down what LEM is a little bit later in the video, but just here's what's important. We're not going to try to tackle LEM right now. We'll save that for a minute. But here's what you need to know, is that these are not interchangeable. What I mean by that is if you buy a USP, so I have a USP in the back of the truck, and the USP is the USP. You can run that as a double to single. That's how mine came. And then you can throw in an LEM trigger kit to run it as an LEM.
Correct.
Okay? LEM stands for Law Enforcement Modification. We'll get into it in a second. The P30 series is not like that. So they are separate SKUs because of this decocker. So if you're like, man, maybe I'll get the DASA, and then if I like LEM, I'll swap that in. Not gonna work that way, kids, okay? Not today, right? So I don't know why I'm,
aggressive.
yeah,
okay.
but I am.
You're excited to be
yeah,
here.
it's just Irish blood, So you need to know which one you want to get in advance. I'm going to tell you, for the majority of people, I think the LEM is probably your proper route. But DASA also awesome once Langdon gets a hold of it, and like I said, we'll get there.
And I like options.
Yeah, I like. Well, yeah, I always like options. So some of the other differences compared to the USP, one, you got a full length pick rail here, right? So it is a proper pick rail. So if you've got a Surefire X300 with the A model with the little clips there.
Throw that on there. Ooh, aesthetically it looks great.
Right, good to go.
It's a little obnoxious on this model, but let's point it that way.
Yep.
Little obnoxious.
Yeah,
but
USP, you can't do that as proprietary rail. It was designed for the Enforce light, and we'll break that down in a video in a couple days. So you've got that. You keep pointing out the stuff that I'm about to talk about.
Okay.
So you got front cocking serrations, which were not on the USP. They are in the P30.
right here for cocking.
The grip comes stippled from the factory.
Yep.
Yours is a different thing. But comes textured from the factory, and frankly, it's good.
Good, good.
There's nothing that needs to be done
For
to
like,
it.
if I rub it on my belly, not bad.
Thank you for
Not
that. And they have interchangeable back straps, again, something not found on the USP, and side panels.
This piece.
So if you want to add a little palm swell.
And these pieces.
Yeah, piece of cake. You can make that grip, if you've got big, monster, meaty hands, you got, you're a third grade girl, doesn't matter. You
Yours
can rock
is set up for a third grade girl. This one is Ernest Langdon's personal P30, and he's got fatty grips on there.
Did you just call Ernest?
No, he's got fatty grips. He's not fat. Are you kidding me? That dude's svelte.
You heard it.
He's got fatty. I said fatty grips, dude.
Just saying.
Like
just saying.
Like big booty hoe, big booty gun.
Now man, Ernest. Apologies.
Dude, I like it. I'm complimenting the big booty on this gun.
Ernest will be fired promptly after this video. Don't worry about it.
Ernest will hire me.
You also have over the USP an extended paddle mag release. So the USP also has paddle, but it's very, very short little nub.
Nubbins, right?
And this is a legit paddle, which if you're going to be using gloves, or just simply a bigger paddle is better. That's just the reality, So really good for those of you that wonder. I really like the paddle over a button. I would take a paddle all day over a button. It's going to be different strokes for different folks on that. Some people are going to prefer buttons, but on the P30, I don't think that there is a button option. I know in the VP9s, there's models for buttons and
Can we
paddles.
revisit that later?
Sure.
Okay.
Yep. Another couple quick notes. Mags are phenomenal in the P30 series. Okay.
Great mags.
And like they're tanks. They're known to be super reliable, super beefy tanks. They're HK mags. They're German, so they're not going to be cheap. I think they're 50-ish bucks. Don't quote me on that, but I think I'm pretty close there. Those are like Teflon coated or something.
MP3.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I even asked Ernest, I'm like, because they gave us like a bunch of mags for this, for the review. I was like, dude, does it make a difference? He's like, I'm going to be honest, they shoot out of that gun a little bit quicker. And he would know better than us.
Yeah.
The dude's a legit shooter.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But the number one thing he always said, and that James said, is the bomb-proof HK mags.
Oh yeah, bomb-proof.
Yep.
And they're 17 round capacity, so good capacity, all that kind of stuff, right? All right, so let's start talking about some Langdon specific things here.
Okay.
Let's start with this. So Langdon really, I would say, is most predominantly known for their work on the Beretta lineup, the Beretta 92 series, which we've had on the show. You can go watch that. If I remember, I'll try to link that, but if I don't, then I don't. You can just type it in and go find it.
Yep.
They do phenomenal work on the Berettas, and Ernest carried and like really worked P30s for, I think he said about 3 years that he was carrying them and just running the shit out of these things. Also of note, he said he's never had a malfunction on
Not one is what he said.
which is pretty dope. That's a great testimonial
Yep.
there. So this project came from both a bit of a need in the market to beef up the P30 a little bit with a couple features, but also his personal love of the platform.
Correct.
And I think that says a lot because Ernest is a very well-known competition shooter and trainer. And so I like listening and going, okay, cool. Well, tell me about your personal setups and what do you run, right? So right now, just so you guys know, they're only working on the P30 lineup and the P2000 lineup. P2000, separate animal. We won't tackle that now. It's almost like USP-esque, but evolved. So they're not doing VP9s, USPs, all that kind of stuff. Stay tuned for the future. Maybe they will, but right now they're not. So you can all not ask them that. There's only 2 complaints, 2 gripes about the P30s. I would like a dot. Give me a dot, right?
On a stock P30?
Yeah, like
Correct.
the yes. standard P30 lineup
100%.
from HK,
Yes.
no modifications. I'd like a red dot, which
Correct.
is not offered.
Correct.
And the trigger could use some work. Okay?
Agreed.
Now the factory LEM trigger, that's gonna be a little bit of a different thing, but especially on the DA-SA, yeah, like this is gonna be a bit of a beast for a lot of people to tackle.
Yep.
And so that's the 2 things that Langdon has addressed. And I think one of the best compliments that we could say about this, and we've told them this on a call, is that I appreciate that you guys didn't try to do too much. You know? Because sometimes something, you go, it's really good, it just needs that extra like 10% to make it awesome.
Yeah.
And that's what they did.
That's what the 10% is.
Yep.
The trigger work and spring work that they do, as well as the dot cut. Because again, like take another platform or something. When people modify those, they throw in the lightning cut and all this stuff. Like, dude, we got serrations on this. It was 90% there.
It had everything I wanted.
Langdon took the 10% and did it really, really well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's just like, well, I didn't need you to redo the grip. I got serrations. Like you look at it, you're like, well, what did it need? It didn't need much.
I'd like a dot and a trigger to make this gun nice, and guess what? That's what they did.
And I think that's cool, and I think it's also just good insight to go, why are we trying to do all this fancy shit on something that doesn't need it? It's already a really cool gun.
Don't reinvent the wheel,
it's a dope
just
gun.
modify the wheel.
Just give it that little bump, and then we're good to go. So let's talk kind of in depth about red dot and trigger. Much like the Beretta,
Yeah.
Cutting a slide for this is not super straightforward.
There's a lot of shit in the internal slide, right?
Yeah, like you got to kind of arrange things internally to allow to get a low red dot cut. You can do a high red dot cut, no problem. And I think that there is someone else that does that. I don't even know who it is, to be honest, where it's just like, yeah, you got a dot on it, but it's like your dots, just looks like a skyscraper.
That's the easy route.
Yes.
That's the easy route.
Yeah, and same with the Beretta. It's like Beretta themselves put out a Beretta that was red dot cut, and it's like the height of this thing was insane.
It's like a riser on a rifle, but on a pistol.
Yeah, exactly. So you're right. Just got a Unity mount on the top of your Beretta. So that's part of what Ernest and the Langdon crew really are trying to do, is give you a low red dot cut. How low? Well, here you go. 190 thousandths.
Which would be, hold on, 2/10 of an inch or 1/5.
Yeah, I mean right around. Yeah, mine. Yeah.
You like
Close,
that math?
close enough.
You like that math?
Close enough. Yeah, it's
You know
not
how
bad.
I knew that math?
You looked at
just
the
read
notes. You looked at the notes. Because it's
Someone
literally
who's new to the
written.
channel would be like, "Wow, Chris is good at fractions." Nah,
good.
bitch.
Nah, just
I'm good at reading.
read the note. I will tell you this: the gun point's very nice. It's very intuitive. If you're used to running, if you're used to running pistols with red dots, this is going to point like this. Why it's interesting is because, hey, some shit had to be figured out in order to make that happen. And the benefit, of course, is it's not this learning curve of like, oh man, this dot's super high. It's just like, no, if you're used to running pistol red dots, like you're going to be good to go on this.
Yeah.
So it's a win. Cut for a Hollow Sun RMR footprint.
Yep. Yeah.
So it can take an RMR, it could take a Hollow Sun 507C, that's a 508.
I had a Trijicon SRO on here originally.
Yep. On this L, that's a 507. Yeah, sorry, I don't know why I blanked out. 507. I had a Hollow Sun EPS, the full size one that just came in, the enclosed emitter. But as it turns out, I thought that thing had a hollow sun or like an RMR footprint. It does not. It still has that shield footprint. So
they're working on it though.
Yeah, so Langdon is working on that. So if you're like, look, the EPS is what I want to run on this, me too. I got one sitting at the house and it simply doesn't work on this right now. So I know that Langdon specifically is working on that because they're like, no, we think that dot's probably the next hotness. So it's like, we want to be set up for that. We just need a dedicated adapter plate in order to make it work.
Yeah.
So that's what we're working on. Hell, I'm sending my EPS back to Arizona.
Yeah,
like, take mine because mine needs to go on this gun, and right now it can't. So take mine, figure it out. So the optic plate does have some backup iron sights, which is cool. They're like suppressor height sights. Yours, I noticed, has a tritium. Actually, this one has tritium on the front sight too. So if you're at all like, Jake doesn't seem to know much about his gun. So here's what happened. So just weird fluke phenomenon. So I have a P30L from them. Mine is in the LEM trigger configuration. This one is the DA SA. What happened was just a freak phenomenon where basically I broke my gun, and it was just one of those, like, I don't even know how the hell I managed to do that. But so the DA SA was really just to get through this review, since I unfortunately managed to damage a gun. Mine just has a blacked out front sight, which is why I was just noticing that. So these are tritium, mine's blacked out. So, you know, a couple different options.
But
that
blacked
you can
out
do
rear,
there.
tritium front. Yep.
Yeah, and they do index a little bit inside of that window.
Yeah, bottom 8.
Tiny, you
Again,
know.
I'm good at fractions. So
Tiny,
bottom
yeah,
8.
bottom 1/8.
Yep.
You know, cutting a gun gun with a dot can present a little bit of challenges in the way of holsters. Pro tip.
Yeah. So originally, because I had an SRO on this, it would not work in the Safariland holster that Jeff from RDR Kydex made for us, or modified. That's right, people. Jeff, within the span of a couple days.
Oh no, it was like literally a couple hours. Like, he figured this shit out like a wizard.
He found a holster that'll work. He modified it, and it'll work for your P30 and your P30L.
Yep.
So
No rat. Like he actually.
No, fit and finish is great.
Truthfully, really did a phenomenal job on this. So for those of you guys who are looking at this potentially as like a duty gun, hey, you will have a duty holster option for this.
But it won't run with an SRO.
Correct. Yeah. So you are going to have to stick to the standard footprint until maybe he figures out some sort of mod. But a little bit of a shameless plug there. Jeff is a friend of ours, but at the same time, it's like, hey, if you're buying these, you're going to need to figure out a holster for it. So hey, pro tip, there's your option. You can hit up RDR and save yourself some time of having to figure it out.
Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate it.
Let's talk about the LEM trigger, because this is one where it's like, okay.
This is where you had to explain it to me like 3 times, and I still think I understand it, but I'm not super confident. So
yes. So I'm gonna borrow your gun for a sec. So here's what LEM is, guys. Because again, you're gonna have to, if you go to Langdon or you just buy a P30 from a gun shop one day, you're gonna have to figure out, do I want double to single action or LEM? So here's what LEM is. It's double action only.
Correct.
DAO, double action only. And so that means that every time you pull the trigger, the hammer is going to go all the way back. Unlike a traditional double action where it's like you're powering through all this take up, this heavy trigger until you finally get to that brake. This is double action only, but you just go straight to the brake. All of this is just like, there's basically no weight to it. It's just like take up on a 1911 or 2011 or something where you go, oh, there's a little bit of take up, but it's like, it's nothing.
Correct.
Like, it's just nothing. And then you just hit this perfect wall. I don't know why I keep checking like a bullet jumped in there. And then it's this just perfect. So essentially it's a single action brake every single round. And so when this cycles, right? So boom, gun cycles, hammer's back, I reset, and then the hammer's just going to travel ever so slightly to get back on target. So the best way that I can describe it is it's this hybrid weird thing, and LEM stands for Law Enforcement Modification. That's why it was designed from HK, and LEM is a standard HK thing that's offered. Langdon didn't invent the LEM trigger. They're doing some mods to it, which is cool, we'll talk about. But the idea is that, hey, if you're used to running 2011s, 1911s, striker fire guns, all those have the exact same trigger pull every single time.
Every time.
And that's part of the appeal, is to go, I know exactly what I need to do every time, versus double to single where you go, okay, heavy long pull, and now, you know, like, so this is this I have turned into a giant fan of LEM, and I have it in my USP. So I had it prior to having this. When we knew they were doing this, and they were like, "You want DA, SA, or LEM?" I was like, "Fucking LEM, all day." I mean, it's weird, and it takes you a second to figure it out. It takes you even more time to figure out how to explain it to someone.
Yeah.
But once you actually get behind the gun and you throw some rounds on it, you're like, oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. Let me explain it the way that I have while running this. You know, I go to different ranges and shops. And I didn't show anyone this before we were allowed to because we weren't allowed to. But inevitably at the range, someone was like, what is that? And I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
I'll tell you in a week, you know. So you do have the option for if we trip the trigger, right? Gun doesn't cycle now. Now it's a heavy first pull, okay? So this is what I call heavy double action.
That's a heavy double action.
But you cannot run a jammed mag and a round in the chamber doing this.
No.
Because again, I need to insert a mag.
You got to rack
and do that, and there's no decocker.
Yeah.
Okay?
No
so
decocker.
Now, the only option is the lightened double action. And that's how I've been explaining it. So like, yes, I have the heavy double action.
You could never actually really fire it that way. Unless, you know where I'm going with this?
Go ahead, try.
Ammo malfunction.
So, great. So that's something I was going to get into later. But yes.
Yeah.
So say we have it, a round chambered, jammed mag in the gun, and I get lightened double action right here, and I get a click instead of a bang.
Yeah.
The dope thing about these guns is I can then just
get the round to go off.
And say after 2 or 3 it doesn't go, eject it and go back out.
Yeah.
Right?
Because the typical manual of arms there would be tap rack, right? Tap rack, bang.
Yeah.
And this is like, no, and that's part of the LEM modification. The law enforcement modification is, hey, if you have an ammo-related malfunction, now if it's a stovepipe or some shit, obviously it's a different thing. But we're talking about failure to fire, right? Just pull the trigger again.
Yeah.
Like, just which is incredibly smart.
Might as well bang one more time.
The other cool thing with that and hammer-fired guns is that reholstering, added safety measure.
And how is it an added safety measure? So when I reholster now, and I did this with my other striker fire guns, I put my thumb on the back plate. Now, because that hammer is moving, right? If I put this here and pull.
Yeah, because there's no external safety on this.
No external safety.
Yeah.
So when I holster appendix or even, you know, on my Safari Land, I holster like this and put it in so my thumb is blocking
Yeah.
Which again, especially with the jig blitz right here, whatever you want to call them.
Jig blitz?
Something, I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah. Ernest was talking about how he likes that because again, he's pointing in a sensitive area, but he gets the added safety.
Yeah.
So there's some really big pros to this style of gun.
Big pros. Now, in terms of like, so again, LEM is something that HK makes. So what is it that Langdon's doing? Okay, so one, apparently doing an LEM trigger install can be a bit tricky. I can tell you when I had mine done on my USP, I sent my USP to James at Langdon Tactical and had him do it. Yeah, I'm just fucking killing it, man. But you know, it's and he did it because I was like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, right? So you do it. You're smart. And so Langdon's obviously doing the install, but beyond that, so the flat trigger is from Gray Guns, and they also are doing the Gray Guns short reset on that, which cleans it up a bit. Langdon, then on top of all that, is doing their polishing and all their sort of, you know, extra sauce to make it that just really smooth, crisp. And when I say that, like, the take-up on, like, Chris's P30 with the LEM trigger, even compared to my USP with the LEM trigger, the smoothness of this thing is pretty damn mind-blowing.
I mean, it is
ball bearings.
Ball bearings.
Ball bearings.
I hate that term, but it is.
It's what it feels like.
Yeah.
It's what it feels like. So it's really amazing. They do have some different weights, and I think that's something that you should be aware of. So mine, on my personal P30L, not the DASA that I'm just borrowing for this, is the light configuration, that trigger weight, and that's how it will be listed on their website. So if you're like, which one do I have? I have the light, okay? That's about a 3.5 to 4 pound trigger pull, and that they will also designate it by flat trigger, trigger job, firing pin, block spring, right? So that combination of things makes up the light trigger. That's what I have on mine. I believe yours is the extra light.
Extra light.
And I think the extra light is actually still perfectly fine.
You know, when they told me that afterwards, after I'd been shooting this for a bit, I was like, ooh, shoot, extra light?
Sounds scary.
I was like, wait a second. I put damn near 1,000 rounds through this thing. I shoot it very well. I trust myself enough with the extra light, so put on the extra sauce, baby.
Yeah,
on my personal one, it's going to be exactly that way.
Yeah. So I think you could do light. I think you could do extra light. Either of those are totally fine. I'm used to running a lot of 1911, 2011 triggers. I'm used to a light ass trigger. So to me, it's like the light is totally fine. frankly, I'd probably do extra light if I was doing it all over again. I'd probably go extra light.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that that's going to be between 3 and 3.5.
Okay.
You know, I think that's about where yours is going to break.
That you shoot, breaking those parts a little bit, you might shave a little bit more.
Yeah, so. Yeah, fair enough.
Cool.
The DASA, let's talk about that for a sec. So,
I love your first bullet point.
Yeah, so first things first. For a lefty, this is not the one to get, okay? So don't get the DASA if you're a lefty. Why do I say that? Because the decocker is right here, so that you guys can see the back of the frame, but on the left side of the frame.
So if we have this and cycle it, right?
Yep.
Go ahead and hit that button.
So as a lefty, right?
I was going to have it facing the camera so people...
Yeah, well...
It's safe, yeah.
So as a lefty, right, I got my grip like this, and I either have to come around and over or around and over, which is probably even more clunky, right? If it was on this side, no problem. But for a righty, obviously, all day, no problem, come up here and decock. So if you're a lefty, I would highly recommend get the LEM. But beyond that, that's just a little lefty hack there. So the double action pull is about 10 pounds. That's going to sound heavy compared to 3, but when I say it's a really smooth double action trigger pull, it's a really smooth double action trigger pull.
Yeah.
Very similar to their Beretta double action.
Correct.
It's going to be very, very
1,000%.
close.
And you can see in the footage with Jake shooting that first round, his follow-up shot was really close to that first round break on the double action. So like...
And today was my first day running this gun, right? So it's like, I haven't had time to get proficient on the DASA. Not at all. And it's like they're A-zone headshots, you know? So it's like, you can get pretty good with it pretty quick. So if you're a DASA guy, like you run SIG 226s or, you know, whatever the hell you run, or double to single USPs or whatever, cool, rock and roll with the double to single. I think it's great. I prefer the LEM. That's just me. I just like the LEM because I like the same trigger pull every time.
I agree.
So just some kind of thoughts that I've had and we've had over going through this. P30L's been on my personal list of guns though for quite a while.
Yeah. It would have been on my list, but like number 70, just because it's John Wick's gun.
The original OG John Wick gun was the P30L.
With that comp on it or whatever.
Yeah.
Now, after doing this review, and again, we might be a little more biased, but like, I have zero problem saying, and I don't think you care anyways, this is going to be my EDC gun from here on out.
Yeah, Chris has been I can tell you.
I have fallen in love with this fucking gun. Dude.
He raves about this damn thing like every time that he calls me now.
Which we call each other like 3 or 4 times a day. So
true. Yeah. But it's actually cool to see. It's like a papa looking in.
Oh, thanks, Dad.
It's cool to see because Chris was a Glock whore forever. Then he figured out 2011s were awesome and Glocks were just Legos and not that awesome. And to now see you getting into something new again, it's actually kind of like, all right, cool. Yeah. But it also says something about the gun because you're not easy to sway.
Hell
On
no.
pistols, you're not easy to sway.
Hell no. And you brought up 2 great points. A striker fire gun that I was in love with and a 2011 had a baby, and this is that fucking baby.
Yeah.
I guess
fair.
I shouldn't say an F word with baby in it. Sorry, kids.
I don't care.
This is that. I mean, I have, again, it annoys me at how much of a Glock whore I was. This annoys me at how much I love it. Because seriously, like, every guy I've asked, am I stepping out of line loving this gun so much? And they're like, no, that gun's pretty cool. And dude, for whatever reason, I can shoot this thing lights out. Yeah. It just works for me. So
let's talk about really the only con that both of us can find with this, because it's you figure it out pretty quick. Like you figure out pretty quickly, like on your first mag, like there's one thing that is not as enjoyable. Sometimes companies try to help ambidextrous or lefty shooters, and you cause more problems for us than you just fixed. You know, so my request, same thing with Gen 5 Glocks. I'm like, please stop trying to do some of the ambi shit. Like, lefty shooters know how to run righty guns. And that's a little bit of the issue that happens here, but it's going to plague both lefties and righties. Yep. So you can kind of talk about your...
Yeah. So I noticed, you know, within the first mag, I was like, I'm getting this weird malfunction every time. Second mag, third mag, fourth mag. And I was like, okay, what's going on here? On my last round, I'm not getting a hold open to the rear. So I started looking, and it's a very simple reason. Anyone with a modern grip now is going to override the giant slide release or slide stop.
Yeah, it's a big paddle.
I mean, the meat of my palm, I mean, look at the line right there.
Yeah.
That's where my meaty palm fits, and we'll kind of cut in some footage of this, and straight up just overrides that to where on the last round, I'm just getting a normal cycle.
Yeah.
So it's just, it's part of it. Some people that would be their like end all be all. I'm not interested. Here's my caveat. Statistically, the most rounds shot in an engagement, stateside, 2 civilians, right, are 8 rounds total.
Yeah, it's less than that.
So it could be 6 from you, 2 from me, 4 from me, 4 for you, right? Dude, with the mag I'm going to carry in this, it holds 17 rounds.
Yeah.
So for me, it's a non-issue. And
It's an annoyance at the range is what it is.
It's an annoyance on a range day, and that's it. And I'm just training to insert new mag, rack, power stroke it, and go back out, right? Like, it is what it is. But, you know, some people might get hung up on that, and some people will say, well, the extra mag is for malfunctions.
Look, I don't discredit the con that we're pointing out here. I think it is a real con, which is you're not going to lock your slide back. The upside is that, hey, if this is a duty weapon, you've got gloves or something like that, it's like, cool, look, you've got really good like surface area to be able to do mag releases, especially in the winter, anything like that.
100%.
Now, I do have some good news. If you're a lefty, let me help bring you into lefty world. Cut that bitch off.
Which I may try and cut off my slide stop on this left side.
I think it's going to go well.
No, let me finish. And then I'd do slide releases with my trigger finger, which is what you've done being a lefty forever, correct?
The problem is mechanically, I think that I don't think you can cut off the left side. I don't think you can cut it off.
Oh, this side has to stay on?
I'm pretty sure that side like has to stay intact.
But the right side
This
doesn't?
side is literally like can just get dremeled off. Like, you know, shave it down so there's no sharp edges, you're good to go. Nothing changes.
Huh, okay.
The left side, when we broke down and I took this to a gunsmith and looked at it, I was like, I don't think you'll be able to cut off that left side if you're a righty shooter. But for the lefties, again, simple solution.
Yeah.
Like, Dremel this thing off, done.
Cool.
And what I found after that, I was doing mag, you know, slides locking back, mag goes in, birthday bump.
Yeah, well, HKs are designed for that.
Yeah, but I hadn't had that prior to this being cut off. I hadn't had it yet.
Yeah, I don't have an empty mag, but they're legitimate. They're made for that, from my understanding.
Yeah, I know the Mark 23s were. I don't know about these. I haven't had it prior to cutting that arm off. It's a non-issue. It doesn't really matter. I suggest. Yeah. Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay, yeah, I stand corrected.
I'm telling you, it is a feature.
Yeah, no, yeah, rock and roll. So I suggested to the Langdons, I was like, hey, I think you should offer this as a lefty delete option. Like, you know, charge me a little bit of extra money for lefties and shave this thing down so I'm good to go. I don't know if they're going to do that. You can ask, but I don't know if they're going to do that. But I'll tell you this too, as a 1911, and then we'll wrap it up here in a sec, but as a 1911, 2011 shooter, it gets almost tough to like other things just because you get used to
spoiled.
Yeah, you get spoiled, man. You know, you just get used to shooting really nice shit and you get spoiled. This has been the most enjoyable pistol experience outside of that 1911, 2011 category that I've had in quite a while. Yeah. Where I'm like, you guys will see the LEM version of this. You're going to see this in a lot of videos. Yeah. I'm going to be running this gun a lot.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm going to see it. So
like, I like it. Like, I really, really like it, and I will work that gun. So slam dunk winner, they knocked it out of the park. That's bottom line.
Yeah.
Killed it.
Even if that is a biased review, sorry guys, they killed it. Even if I didn't like the people at Langdon, I'd say this is a great gun. So HK perfection, right? HK ingenuity, evolution with the Langdon secret sauce.
It's a good sandwich.
Is a good sandwich.
Yeah, it's a good sandwich.
On that note.
Yeah, we're about ready to go get a sandwich, so I guess we'll go get out of here. Go try to find the last remaining Quiznos that exists. Yeah, as we were talking about earlier.
By Crispy's house, he said.
And yeah, we'll go see if we can go find that chicken bacon ranch and go hit that shit, you know?
My mouth is watering.
So, all right, kids, good to see you all, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.
In 10 seconds or less, answer me this. If time travel was a thing, where would you go, when would you go, and what gun would you take with you?
Now, I got a caveat to this. Are we talking time travel? Because one theory is you can only time travel from the point it's existed forward.
Or backwards.
Forwards and backwards, okay. What was the original question?
I want to go see Pompeii pop off.
That's dark.
I don't know why.
See a whole civilization wiped off the planet.
What gun would you take with you?
I'll take, just because I think they'd be so confused by it, I'm going to take an MP7. They're not even wearing body armor. It would just zip through dudes, you know? I don't know.
That's a poor choice, yeah.
Just for fun.
It'd be cool to go like the Battle of Thermopylae, 300. See how that actually went down in person. 300 people against 20 million or whatever it was.
Yeah, kind of cool.
And I'd probably take my Knights 16-inch.
Predictable.
Yep. Predictable. This fucking guy. I'm out.
I quit.